試験監督者は音量及び室内の聞こえ具合を確認してください。2023年度第1回実用英語技能検定1級リスニングテスト。ただいまから1級リスニングテストを行います。これからお話しすることについて質問は受けませんので、よく注意して聞いてください。なお、リスニングテスト放送中に音飛びや騒音があった場合は、発生した問題のトラックの始めに戻し、やり直します。しかしながら、万が一、教室監督者が気づかない場合は、速やかに手を挙げてお知らせ願います。このテストでは、テストの方法と注意事項がすべて英語で放送されます。
The listening test for the Grade 1 examination is about to begin. Listen carefully to the directions. You will not be permitted to ask questions during the test. This test has 4 parts. All of the questions in these 4 parts are multiple choice questions. For each question, choose the best answer from among the 4 choices written in your test booklet. On your answer sheet, find the number of the question and mark your answer. You are permitted to take notes for every part of this listening test. Now, here are the directions for Part 1. In this part, you will hear 10 dialogues, number 1 through number 10. Each dialogue will be followed by 1 question. For each question, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The dialogue and the question will be given only once.
Now we will begin the Grade 1 listening test. Number 1.
My back is killing me.
What happened?
It's my lower back. I twisted around to pick something up this morning and I strained a muscle. Now I can barely move.
You should take the rest of the day off and go see someone about it.
My doctor will just recommend anti-inflammatory medication, but it does nothing for me. It's not the first time I've done it.
What about a chiropractor? Mine is fantastic. I'll give her a call and see if she can fit you in.
Really? Thank you.
Question. What does the man imply about his problem? Number 2.
Hi, I need a refund for a cruise we booked. We can no longer go.
Do you have the necessary supporting documentation?
You mean the travel insurance policy? You should have a record of it. I purchased it along with the cruise.
No, I mean the proof of circumstances that permit the refund, like medical records, that sort of thing.
We can't cancel due to a change in our work schedules?
If you read the insurance document's fine print more closely, you'll see what circumstances the policy covers.
Question. What does the man imply?
Number 3.
Look what I found this morning.
Are those wild mushrooms?
Yeah, a whole basket of them. I picked them in the woods. I'm thinking of putting them in pasta for dinner and an omelet for breakfast tomorrow.
I had no idea there were so many different varieties growing in this vicinity.
Yeah, I found chanterelles, porcini, and oyster mushrooms.
Any morel mushrooms? Nothing compares to those.
Unfortunately, they're a spring mushroom. You can't find them in the fall.
Too bad. Still, the others look great.
Question. Why is the woman disappointed?
Number 4.
More office drama coming up?
Why? What's going on?
Rachel was making comments about Julie on the office chat software, thinking the software was private. Several people read them before they were deleted.
What did they say? I didn't see them.
They were pretty insulting. Rachel commented on problems with Julie's performance and also stuff about her fashion sense.
Poor Julie. I'm sure she feels so humiliated.
Question. What are the two people talking about?
Number 5.
Hi, Craig. How are preparations coming along with the play you're directing?
To be honest, I'm terrified. But I feel this way before every show opens.
Have there been any problems?
Well, there have been a couple of arguments over who should play which role, but nothing major.
At least it sounds like they're committed. How are things on the technical end?
They're good, despite the sets being a bit complicated. My support staff has it under control.
I'm sure it'll be a huge success.
Question. What is one thing we learn about the play?
Number 6.
Lindsay, you still haven't given me the budget numbers I asked you for. What's going on?
Sorry. The department head still hasn't checked them. They've been sitting on her desk for a few days, but she's been snowed under this week.
So it's your manager that's the bottleneck? You should have let someone know.
I didn't want to get her into trouble.
Well, loyalty is nice and all, but consider this. If this puts the other departments behind schedule, they're going to blame you.
I see your point.
Question. What does the man say the woman should have done?
Number 7.
Did you read that article I sent you about the new medicines they've extracted from ocean creatures?
Yeah. I know scientists have been getting new pharmaceuticals from nature for years, but this is the first time I've heard of them looking to marine environments.
It's not surprising that it took so long. They say we know more about the moon than about the ocean.
There are so many different oceanic species. There must be lots of useful chemicals waiting to be discovered.
I imagine it'll be a while before any new drugs pass the required testing, though.
Question. What do we learn from the conversation?
Number 8.
So, Jim, did your daughter choose which university to attend for her year abroad in Spain?
She's still deciding between a big one in Madrid and a small rural school that specializes in her major.
What are your thoughts?
I told her to choose the one that best suits her academic interests.
I can sympathize with her indecision, though. Small-town life would be a big change for her.
But why study abroad if not to throw yourself into a completely new environment?
I get that, but I'm not the one you need to persuade.
Question. What does the man think about his daughter?
Number 9.
Well, I've had a look at the data you provided, and I think we can successfully resolve your company's problems.
The considerable decline in sales in recent quarters has us quite concerned.
I understand. There are some financial strategies that can help you to increase profits in the short term. To address the root cause, however, I think we need to look elsewhere.
Well, our product quality seems to be stable, and as far as we can tell, there haven't been any major changes in the market.
That's consistent with the results of my analysis. To start with, I think we need to focus on your employees.
I suspected we might need to terminate some people, especially the low performers.
Actually, that's not what I meant. Based on things like the frequency of missed deadlines, late arrivals, and absences, I think it's obvious that employee morale is suffering.
And you think that's responsible for the decline in sales?
That's what the data suggests. The base salaries you provide are competitive, but I see there are no opportunities for staff to receive performance bonuses. Introducing such a system could go a long way toward motivating employees.
Question. What does the woman say the man should do?
Number 10.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Henderson. Please have a seat.
Thanks. What's the news on the sale of the house? Has the bank approved the buyer's loan?
Actually, that's why I called you in today.
Is there a problem? I thought the loan had been pre-approved.
The buyer's credit rating is fine. However, the home inspector found an issue with the property, and the bank won't approve the loan until it's been addressed.
The asbestos in the attic? I thought we had all of that removed.
No, there's a problem with the wiring. It was done over 30 years ago, so it needs to be brought up to modern standards.
But we didn't have a problem when we bought the house 3 years ago.
That's because you didn't need a loan. Banks won't lend money for a house that doesn't meet safety codes.
I guess we have no choice but to hire someone to fix it then.
That could be costly. We may need to renegotiate the selling price.
Understood. Get an estimate for the work, and I'll contact the buyer. He might be willing to raise his offer to help cover the cost.
Question. What is the problem with the sale of the couple's house?
Here are the directions for Part 2. In this part, you will hear 5 passages, A through E. Each passage will be followed by 2 questions, number 11 through number 20. For each question, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The passage and the questions will be given only once. Now, let's begin.
A. Something to smile about. It is often observed that people from certain countries tend to have bigger smiles. That is, their smiles seem to express greater excitement. In 2016, researchers examined photos of government leaders from various countries. They compared the photos with the results of a survey of college students in those countries about how often they would like to feel various emotions in a typical week. The study found that leaders from countries where high-energy emotions, such as excitement, were more desirable, tended to have bigger, more energetic smiles. The researchers stress that the smiles do not indicate the leader's actual levels of happiness. However, they may reflect the emotional ideals of their respective cultures. It seems that not only does the intensity of smiles vary by country, but so does the frequency. Research led by Paula Niedenthal, an American psychologist, has revealed one possible factor. Niedenthal examined the immigration history of several countries and surveyed people in those countries about situations in which they consider it appropriate to smile. Her team concluded that people from countries with more diverse immigration tend to smile more often. They believe this is because facial expressions can be an effective way to communicate across language barriers.
Questions. Number 11. According to the 2016 study, what may affect the way government leaders smile in photos? Number 12. According to Paula Niedenthal's research, why might smiling be more common in some countries? B. Understanding mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are a common annoyance and can be dangerous. Apart from bites causing skin irritation, the insects can spread disease when they insert their needle-like mouthparts into their victims. Mosquitoes are adept at detecting the odor of carbon dioxide, which people release through both their breath and skin. However, as non-living sources can also generate carbon dioxide, the insects must also rely on their ability to detect the odor of other chemicals that indicate the presence of blood. These include lactic acid, which the human body produces when it breaks down sugar for energy, and ammonia, a chemical that results from the breakdown of proteins. But why do some people seem to be mosquito magnets, while others seem to be ignored by the bloodsuckers? Metabolic rate seems to play a significant role. This is the rate at which people's bodies burn calories in order to perform basic life functions. Higher metabolic rates are associated with increased production of chemicals that lure mosquitoes. Both physical activity and alcohol consumption temporarily increase a person's metabolic rate. Scientists, therefore, believe that athletes working out and people who have just drunk alcoholic beverages are more likely to find themselves scratching away at mosquito bites.
Questions. Number 13. What is one thing the speaker says about carbon dioxide? Number 14. Why do scientists believe athletes are more likely to get mosquito bites?
C. White feathers. During the first 2 years of World War I, Britain stood out from the other major powers involved in the conflict by maintaining a volunteer army. Though not allowed to fight, many British women considered it their duty to help the military recruit soldiers. As well as making speeches and putting up signs, some women formed groups that handed out white feathers. They would stop civilian men in the street and pin a white feather on their clothes. The white feather was a symbol of being a coward and was designed to make the men feel ashamed of not having enlisted. The women were acting out of patriotism, but unfortunately, they often gave feathers to men who had valid reasons for not being in uniform. As a result, the government began creating symbols that men could wear to show that they were doing their part to support the war effort. For instance, the Silver War Badge was given to those who had already served in the military but had to leave due to wounds or illness. Nevertheless, after numerous accusations of harassment, by the end of the war, public opinion had turned against the women who participated in giving out the feathers.
Questions. Number 15. Why did women put white feathers on men? Number 16. Who received the Silver War Badge?
D. Employee monitoring. As remote work becomes increasingly common, many firms are utilizing surveillance software to monitor employees' computers. This software frequently includes keyboard tracking and video surveillance functions. While such monitoring is designed to prevent rule breaking and prolonged periods of inactivity, research has shown that it can often backfire. In one study, employees who knew they were being monitored were more likely to disregard regulations and find ways to avoid work when given an opportunity to do so. The researchers suggest that monitoring causes employees to feel less responsible for their own conduct, and that they could resent being monitored. In contrast, unmonitored employees seem to feel more responsible for their own actions. Experts suggest employees be asked for their input regarding when surveillance is appropriate. Furthermore, employees should have access to data about their own actions, as well as data for the company or team overall. In addition to surveillance, data should be utilized in ways that benefit employees. For instance, it can be used to notify employees of health and fitness programs they could benefit from, or identify opportunities for professional development. By incorporating such functions, employees will be more likely to embrace monitoring.
Questions. Number 17. What is one problem with employee monitoring programs? Number 18. What is one way employee monitoring programs can be made more effective?
E. Ancient extinctions. Around 12,000 years ago, many large North American mammals died off for reasons likely related to climate change and human activity. In a recent study, researchers examined the chemical composition of fossilized teeth from large species that went extinct, such as mastodons, as well as from smaller species that survived. The researchers were able to determine the diets of large animals before the extinction event and of surviving smaller species in the years following. This allowed them to gain insight into the event's impact on both the food chain and the ecosystem in general. The researchers found that the roles played by large meat-eating predators, such as saber-toothed cats, were filled to some extent by other carnivores after they went extinct. However, no surviving mammals were able to take over the role of some of the large plant-eating species. This meant the services these herbivores had performed, like helping to keep grasslands healthy by clearing trees, were no longer provided, resulting in a less diverse and therefore less resilient ecosystem. The findings provide not only a window to the past, but also a warning for the future, as the loss of today's endangered large mammals could impact ecosystems just as severely.
Questions. Number 19. What did the researchers learn from their analysis of fossilized teeth? Number 20. What was suggested by the findings of the study?
Here are the directions for Part 3. In this part, you will hear 5 passages, F through J. The passages represent real-life situations and may contain sound effects. Each passage will have one question, number 21 through number 25. Before each passage, you will have 10 seconds to read the situation and question written in your test booklet. After you hear the passage, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The passage will be given only once. Now, let's begin.
F. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 21.
Our merger agreement with Dextech is pretty much a done deal. This is all for the best, but it needs to remain confidential for now. The department heads, however, should be informed so they don't panic when the news breaks. The last thing we need is to worry high-level staff. Please do that before you depart. You'll need to draft a merger statement for when you speak with them, but I want to review it first. For the section managers, we'll give them a heads up in about 2 weeks. I'd like to make a company-wide announcement, but it would undoubtedly leak to the press, customers, and vendors, so that's not an option. We'll also have to get a new company policy in place, including an organizational chart, and post it on our company intranet. You can start drafting that while you're away. I'll be in touch throughout the course of your trip.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
G. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 22.
Our family plan is perfect for events with a slightly casual atmosphere. All the food is served at once, family style, which does mean there won't be any space for elaborate decorations or settings on the tables. Of course, you can't go wrong with traditional plate service, and our elegant plan never fails to impress. With this option, guests choose their main dish, and you'll have more control over the menu. Please note this plan requires 4 months' notice. Next is our country plan, which provides a buffet-style meal. This plan is our most expensive, as more food is prepared, but a beautifully arranged buffet adds a striking visual touch to any reception and leaves plenty of room on each table. Finally, with our star plan, guests serve themselves with some help at various food stations. Guests love the interactive setup, but there's currently a 5-month-long waiting list for the appliance rentals the stations require.
Now, mark your answer on your answer sheet.
H. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 23.
Let me tell you about some of the staff members that you could consider for the software project leader position. Glenn would have been ideal since he managed the previous project and everybody likes him. He's just been assigned to another project, though. Keiko just joined us last month, but she led several similar projects at her last job, and I think she's even more outgoing and approachable than Glenn. Then there's Jamie. She sometimes struggles a bit due to a lack of familiarity with our systems. That being said, she's got fantastic people skills and was a good team player in the last project. If Terrence were a bit less introverted, he'd be excellent because he knows everything there is to know about coding. He should definitely be on the team, but it's probably better if he's in a subordinate role.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
I. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 24.
You did the right thing by calling us. Some people patch leaks up themselves with roofing tape and forget about them, but they're almost guaranteed to lead to bigger problems down the line. Now, there are a few different locations where water is getting in. Some tiles seem to have been severely damaged by the recent hailstorms. Unless the tiles are over 25 years old, an entire roof replacement isn't necessary now, as there isn't any large-scale structural damage. Repairing the damaged tiles should be sufficient. This is urgent, though, as the water could damage the electrical wiring and create a safety hazard. Unfortunately, I also noticed some water damage on your first-floor hallway ceiling. This could be coming all the way from the leaky roof, but it's more likely to be a plumbing issue involving the bathroom directly above. I suggest calling a plumber if it doesn't resolve itself after I repair the roof.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
J. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 25.
Sorry about this. The traffic isn't usually this bad on Route 1 outside of rush hour. The traffic report just said a car broke down about a mile ahead and is blocking a lane. Normally, I'd say we should just wait it out where we are, as the local highway patrol officers are pretty quick to fix these kinds of situations. But with the recent rain and flooding on some of the surrounding roads, it might take a half hour or so to clear the road. I could make a U-turn at the next light and go back the opposite way on Route 1 to get to the expressway. That would get you where you're going pretty quickly, but I'd have to charge you for the toll. Alternatively, I can make a right just up ahead on Brady Street and take you straight down to the train station if you think getting on a train might be quicker.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
Finally, here are the directions for Part 4. In this part, you will hear an interview. The interview will be followed by 2 questions, number 26 and number 27. For each question, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The interview and the questions will be given only once.
This is an interview with Saul Baker, who works as a forester in the United States.
Welcome, Saul. Thanks for joining us on Job Talk.
No problem. It's good to be here.
I think the first thing our listeners will want to know is what exactly does a forester do?
Well, basically, I manage the forest. My job is to make sure it's protected and maintained. So I'm in charge of setting up projects and then supervising those projects to make sure everything gets done in the way it's supposed to.
It sounds like an important job. How did you get into this kind of work?
By accident, really. After studying biology at university, I got a job at an agricultural research station. I was involved in a project looking into the impact of changing temperatures on the prevalence of fungal disease in wheat plants. We were collaborating with research centers around the world. So it was a really worthwhile project, but I soon realized I wasn't cut out to be a researcher in a lab. I just didn't have the patience and focus that was required. Anyway, one of the centers we worked with happened to be here in Michigan, so I came up for a business trip. While I was here, I visited the state forest where I now work, and I immediately fell in love with it. I applied for a job there and was lucky enough to get it. It's an ideal fit for me because I can use the knowledge I gained at university, but also do hands-on conservation work and in beautiful surroundings.
It sounds like you found your dream job, but I imagine it isn't all fun.
No, the work can be physically demanding and dangerous at times. One thing people don't understand about forest conservation is that you need to clear areas to help the forest rejuvenate. Forest fires do this naturally, but we can control the process more efficiently and safely if we do it ourselves. So we actually end up cutting down quite a lot of trees. We employ forestry workers to do most of the hard labor, of course, but I also have to get my hands dirty on a fairly regular basis.
And how do you see the future of forests in the U.S.?
That's a very good question, and I wish I could give you a positive answer. In the past, the main threat was deforestation to make way for urban areas, but today it's the climate change caused by global warming. To give just one example, warmer winters have led to an explosion in bark beetle populations in some areas. The beetles kill trees by feeding on them, and infestations can devastate forests. The cold winters used to kill off the beetles, but that isn't happening anymore, and the problem is exacerbated by extended periods of drought, which weaken trees, making them more vulnerable to attacks by pests. But I think the average person isn't really aware of the issue. I mean, I don't think they make the connection between their lifestyle choices and detrimental effects on forests. If we don't make a concerted effort to reduce our carbon footprint, I'm pessimistic about how many forests will be left for future generations.
Well, that's certainly given us a lot to think about. Thanks for talking to us today.
You're welcome.
Questions. Number 26. Why did Saul Baker leave his previous job? Number 27. What is one thing that Saul thinks about forests in the U.S.?
Your time is up. Stop writing and wait quietly until the answer sheets have been collected.
では、時間です。筆記用具を置いて答えの記入をやめてください。これにて試験終了となります。公正なる試験実施にご協力いただきありがとうございました。質問がある方は直ちに試験監督者にお申し出ください。試験監督者に連絡いたします。これより最終の受験者数を確認してください。その後、回答用紙を回収し、枚数の確認を行ってください。なお、問題冊子は回収しません。受験者数と回答用紙の枚数の一致を確認してから解散の指示を出してください。受験者の皆さんは身の回りをよく点検し、忘れ物がないように注意してください。受験者の皆さんが退出するときは別の教室が試験中の場合もありますので、声を出さず会場出口まで静かに退出してください。それでは解散の指示を出すまで静かにお待ちください。